Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. It's 6 o'clock. It is the Monday snack. I know I sound a bit delirious right now. It's because I was turned around in the opposite direction 2 minutes ago working on a track and I thought, oh, it's 6 o'clock. It's Monday snack time. So I quickly kind of just sorted myself out. I hope everybody is really, really well. Hope you've had a good week. And today, my guest is the amazing Orefo Orakwue. Fabulous bass player. We had a really, really good chat. We had such a laugh. You're gonna get a very good idea of the complete stupidity that took place when I spoke to Orefo a little while ago. So I'm gonna dive in. Here you go. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. Hi everyone. Today I have the amazing, unbelievably amazing Orefo Orakwue with me. We're talking. We go back a long way. And it's fabulous to have him here. Orefo, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm glad to be on this show at last. I think I am contestant number 6.
You are indeed. Yep. You've been counting. You've been paying attention.
Hell yeah.
That's really cool.
It's
That's
important,
very cool.
man. Go on.
Right. So I'm going to dive straight into this. So a bit of a background for the folks that are watching, listening. So you've played bass and worked with the likes of Desiree, Sugar Babes, Avery Sunshine. You work at Anastasia, Azar MD. You work with like Brian Culbertson, Jeff Lorber, Kirk Whalum, Bobby Lyle, those kind of
boys. Yeah.
You've done that kind of stuff, right? So it's real bass playing pedigree. And I was kind of doing my background research, right? And we first met when you worked back in the day at HMV.
In HMV, not
That's when we first.
Yeah.
That's when we
where
first
I
met.
A lot of people.
Right, and
yeah.
And I was thinking about it, and I remember your encyclopedic knowledge of all recorded music.
All before the internet, before Google.
That's what I'm saying. You like the walking Google. It never ceased to amaze me, right? And subsequently, it's always been like a real blast, like working with you, playing. What was the first gig we actually did together? I can't remember.
Do you know? I was thinking back to this, and I thought it was either the band Original Sun, or or it might have been Paul Johnson.
I think it's Original Sun. It might be Original Sun. I think going back, way back in the good old days when, oh my gosh, when there was no responsibilities, when life was simple.
No,
life was simple.
A lot of hair.
Yeah, tell me about it. So what I wanted to do for the folks to start off with, right, just in case someone isn't familiar with you, I wanted to give them a quick burst of you in action. Just check this out.
Okay. You see the cheeky grin there? The cheeky grin was like a glad I got through it grin.
That was like, to me, that's like a taster of the super tasty Orefo Orakwue in full flight, in action. During your time at HMV, right, you had this like expansive, I think I said encyclopedic knowledge of music. And you were regularly responsible for me parting with sizable amounts of cash.
Yeah,
right?
Guilty.
Because of all your recommendations, right? And you've got this real sort of infectious enthusiasm for music. And it kind of makes me think quite often of you not just as a bass player, but as like a real music lover. Just like an overall music lover. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the way you come across to me, right? So, the first question is, when you're at HMV, right? How much gigging were you doing, you know, on the side? How much playing were you doing? And the second question, double-barreled, is, do you have to make a conscious effort, right, to maintain this enthusiasm for music? Because even now, like decades later, right, we'll hook up on a gig or rehearsal, or you'll come around to record something, and you're like, oh yeah, this new album, this is out, and do you have to think about it? Or is it just inbuilt? Is it just like intrinsic to you?
I think it's inbuilt. I mean, I think we've all got a love for music in us. That's why I think we do what we do. I mean, I try and hark back to where the enthusiasm came from. I think it's, you know, like everybody will always say, there was always music in our household, in everybody's household. And I think it was a form of escapism. I think it's not like the days, like today, you've got so much other stuff to occupy your mind. iPods, internet, so all that kind of stuff. I think all we had then was TV and music. So movies, music, that was a kind of escapism. And I don't know, nobody else in the family was musical, but I was just so drawn to it. My brother was bringing records home, and I just wanted to, I think I just imagined myself as a musician.
And why the bass? Why the bass?
Oh, it's the first thing I heard. It seemed to kind of fulfill a role that nothing else did. I loved everything. I loved keys, I loved brass, I loved drums. But for me, the bass lines always seemed to meander through everything. It kept pulse, it was melodic, it did everything that it sang, it did everything that all the other instruments did, in my opinion. So I kind of felt bass, you get to do everything through the bass guitar. The people I was listening to at the time, the music that I was listening to, it just kind of stuck out. Verdine White, Earth, Wind and Fire, Marcus Miller, all the stuff he did as a teenager. Oh, Anthony Jackson. All that stuff, the bass kind of just stood out and said, I am holding everything together. Other musicians might disagree, but for me, it kind of, it was one thing that I thought, that's the one I want to take.
You mentioned some real bass playing royalty there, you know, and am I right in assuming you were always drawn to the groove, jazz, R&B, soul, kind of, cause all the players you mentioned there were in that ilk. So was there any rock in there? Was there any Latin? Was there?
No, that's the thing though. All the people I mentioned, as much as you're right, they're all very groove based and everything, but I listened to them from a fusion context.
Right, okay.
So actually it was Marcus playing fusion, playing Latin, Anthony Jackson obviously, proper fusion,
right.
like Jimmy Johnson. It was, my thing was, when I was listening to a lot of music, and I listened to everything, R&B, we had reggae, we had African music in the house, we had a lot of pop and rock, but when I came into my own and thought, the stuff I like listening to, it was the fusion. It was the stuff that was challenging. And it was all these musicians we talk about, these session musicians who were performing that music to such a level that I thought, I want to be able to do that.
I've sat with mix engineers, working on projects that I've kind of produced, written, or been employed to kind of put stuff out. So I've sat with mixed engineers, and they're kind of going, who's on bass? Quite often when you're playing, because I remember recently one guy said, I've never heard bass played like that before. Because in many ways you've got this flamboyant, slightly unconventional approach. And you've sort of mentioned who your influences are, but even, it's funny because even in all the names you've mentioned, there is like an Orakwue flavour. Yeah, that's quite unique to you. You sort of take chances. You go off on tangents, even though it's heavily centered with groove. It's heavily groove centered. That doesn't strike me as sort of a Marcus, Anthony Jackson. Those guys, they're flamboyant at certain moments. Yeah.
Okay.
What you've done, and I've worked with keyboard players like this, that you guys managed to insert something that's completely left field within the norm of a groove just popping along, and it always feels like it belongs. It never feels like it's like, what do you do that for? It's like, that should have always been there. It's got that kind of feeling. And I wonder how conscious that is, or whether it's just like, boy, you express yourself in that way. Because it is quite unique to you.
There's a funny thing that I think it's happened to a lot of us. I like to think it's happened to a lot of us, having grown. I think we grew up in the musical, what we can call the UK session scene, as it exists to some degree for the same length of time. And I think I had a few experiences where, and also I think it comes with age, where I learned what to do, what not to do, when to do it.
Right.
If to do it. I worked with a particular MD, great guy, great MD who gave me a lot of work when I was getting in the pop scene. And his thing was always about play the song, Orefo, play the song, he'd say. Because, I came from this fusion thing, but then I got inserted into this pop session scene where nobody cares how many strings you got on your bass, blah, blah, but you got to play what the punters are familiar with. And It took me, I've got to say, it took me years, and I got a few telling offs as well, to remember, hold the groove. Yeah, we know what you can do. It sounds like you're playing for yourself. Hold the groove. There were times, Andrew, when I took it so personally, I got angry. I want to be me. I want to express what I can do. But the truth is, I learned eventually, no screaming kids at pop gigs care about Anthony Jackson or Marcus Miller or whatever. They want to hear their pop idol, whatever, and the song. So it became a thing where I had to learn, particularly on live gigs, play the song, but then be able to, I suppose is the point you're making, every so often you can put something in that maybe take you from A to B, from bridge to outro, whatever it is. That is kind of something that maybe is a part of yourself, but don't go away from the song. Don't move away from that thing, that role that you've got there, which is to be the anchor for the song.
I'm going to play a clip right now, right? That kind of demonstrates, for me, it's a very short clip. It demonstrates the groove element, the really intense groove element of what you do, along with the ability to kind of let go a bit and put those nice little flourishes in. It's a very short clip. It's got one of my favourite of all the recordings we did.
This is one of your things, is it? Yeah,
one of the video recordings we did of my tunes. There's a moment in this where you do this little. I'm gonna play it, and then you know what I'm talking about. So here it comes. Check this out. Now the bit I love in that bit, right? The bit I love in that bit, the little Tower of Power. I was like,
oh yeah, 16s.
Oh man. So that to me that demonstrates the pocket, and the pocket is really really deep. But then when it's time to kind of go off, there's plenty under the hood. That's what I'm saying.
You can't do that in a pop gig though, trust me. You can't go that far in a pop gig.
That's why I write my own music. It's my escape.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Oh man. That was incredibly funky. Every time we play that tune, when we do the gigs, and Orefo goes off, it's always a special moment. I'm gonna say hi to some folks. Who we got? We got Max, he got the regulars in. Maxine, thanks for tuning in again. Wayne, lovely to see you. Steve Barney, drumming royalty, mate. Thanks for checking in as well. Oh, here we go. Tradition, Mrs. S. is in the house, as is the smallest small. Okay, the ladies are here. Wonderful. Aunt Law, beautiful. Good to see you as well. Yeah, right. So let's dive on in. What we're saying now? What we're doing now? We are the next bit. Orefo and I, we were talking about the challenges of being an MD, and Orefo had a really funny story about a gig where he had a moment. You'll see what I'm talking about. There we go. You've held down the musical director role with Anastasia in particular for a long time now. Now, for me, having been in a sort of similar position with various artists, there's that extra responsibility, there's the extra workload.
Tell me about it, yeah.
And I often found it meant the last thing that I would think about was what I was going to play, was my own performance. It's the last thing on the list. You know, so you got all the musical aspects, you got the technical aspects, you got the programming, you got the logistics, you got personnel, you got all this stuff to deal with, and then the last thing that comes to mind is, oh yeah, I've got to play the drums. I've got to play the drums on the gig, right? Because obviously the buck most of the time stops squarely.
Bing. Yeah.
Yeah, it squarely stops with you. So, have you ever felt that the added burden of being an MD I wouldn't say did it affect your performance. I'd say what is the effect that's had on your personal preparation to do a show or do a tour, and ultimately your performance? So how do you multitask? How does it affect the bass playing?
I guess as you know, that role, as you said, it you've got so many responsibilities, and it's about time. It's about how you use that time, be it from programming, be it from arranging songs, be it from whatever, be it liaising with the artist, liaising with the musicians and everything. It's about using that time. I like to think I've been very good with my my responsibilities. I've cut it fine a few times where, it's just you're on a deadline to do things. So I think what I've actually had to do is I've had to learn to put my bass playing, my role as the bass player, put it on the back burner.
Really?
Yeah, okay. I've had to. I think because I've had to trust that I think I'm capable enough to be up to the task. And also I think there's a thing where, as you know, when you are in that role as an MD or whatever, and you have the music for a long time, and because you've been piecing the stuff together, you actually end up learning your gig anyway. Sometimes without picking up the instrument.
Yeah, I about to say the same thing.
And sometimes you're running an automatic. I've been on gigs where I thought, do I actually know this song? Because you're sitting there, and I've been caught out a few times, sitting thinking, actually, I haven't played it. I haven't played it properly and sat comfortably like you would do at home, like everybody else has. I've just been playing it for the sake of the sound guy or just to get the parts together. And I was sat on a gig and thought, actually, how does the bridge go? But then you luckily, automatically, you're bang in because you've done all the prep work anyway within that.
Right.
I will say I do focus more on everything that needs to be done, whether it's a bit of programming, whether it's, as I say, rearranging or arranging, whatever, working with the other musicians. And I put myself last.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm good to go. And luckily I have been. Yeah, I had a little experience where it wasn't in an MD role, but I was kind of an assistant overseeing stuff. And again, I had all those responsibilities. And I remember we got on a gig, and it was a girl band that I was doing at the time. And they were doing a version of En Vogue's Don't Let Go. Is it Don't Let Go?
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah. Big intro. This is an indoor festival and everything. And I'm standing there ready with the bass. Bass doesn't come in yet. Hi-hat starts the thing. And it was supposed to come in the boom, 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 banding. I was lost. I didn't know what to play. And I was just stuck. thinking, how's this song go? It's never happened to me. What's the note? And what I did, Andrew, I sat there and thought, I couldn't even recognise the instrument. I'm thinking, so what I did, I used a volume pedal. I kind of put the volume pedal down and went, no, wrong note. And get coming out. And everybody's looking at me like, what's going on? Band's playing hard, girls are singing. I'm standing there thinking, what? I actually took the bass off, picked up another bass, trying to style it out, put that on, thinking, and the guitarist is going to me, E flat, E flat. And I'm thinking, what the hell's an E flat? And I was just caught in this place where I couldn't forget what I was supposed to do.
Really?
And I think I was lost. The whole song went, finished with no bass. I was mortified.
Wow.
And it was just weird. But I think it's because it was a song that, again, I hadn't prepared. Been too busy preparing everything else. I never looked at it. So when it came to thinking I can rely on that good old Orefo memory, let me down. Let me down completely.
Wow.
But more often than not, I like to think I'm good to go.
So I would have loved to have been at that gig to see the absolute carnage of Orefo kind of, what's my name? Why am I here? What am I doing? Can I play the bass? Very, very funny. Hi to a few more people. Andrew, thank you so much for popping by. Matt, and I think I saw a little thumbs up from James as well. Good to see you folks. So we're moving on to the one of my favourite bits, the impossible quiz. Now, a bit of background on this week's edition. Oh man, I was really cruel to Orefo. I gave him a bit of a dilemma, where he had to make a split-second decision and decide which one of his bass guitars he loved the most. Just check this out. We're going firstly for the impossible choice quiz. As you know, what's expected is no hesitation. Okay?
All right, I'll do my best. Here we go.
First up, bass players, right? Here's your choice, yeah? James Jamerson or Anthony Jackson?
Anthony Jackson.
Okay, cool. Right, you got a choice to play with either of these artists. Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire. Come on.
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Okay. That took too long, That took too long. You know they're deliberately difficult. That's the whole point. Okay.
Oh, okay, go on.
Here we go. Right. So, third one, yeah? Your house is burning down. You have one free hand. Do you save your Fender Jazz or your McIntyre? Come on.
Sorry, Chris, Fender Jazz. Oh, no.
That was deliberate.
Oh, he's going to kill me.
I love that one.
Oh, mate.
Man. Okay. Right. Double bass players. Stand up bass. Dave Holland or Ron Carter?
Ooh, Dave Holland.
Okay, cool. Right. You walk into a rehearsal. Which one of these two drummers do you want to see sitting behind the kit? Will Kennedy or Dave Weckl?
Oh.
Come on.
Weckl,
okay.
Oh, mate.
I love the hesitation. I love it when everyone's like,
No. Well done. Good ones. Oh.
That's what it's all about. The thing is, you know what?
The thing is, if you did this quiz again, the same questions, I'd probably answer the other way round. That's bonkers. Oh, man.
Wonderful. I love it. Okay. Now, I've got to explain something about those questions. The one about which guitar should save the Fender Jazz or the McIntyre, I have to say a very sincere big shout out to Chris McIntyre. You make amazing basses. We love the sound of them. They're all over my albums. I was just being deliberately mischievous with Orefo there. Very funny though. Really, really funny. Hi to a few more folks. Mick Crook. great to see you. James, great to see you as well. Sarah. What else do we have? What else do we have? I saw another name. Tony. Thanks, everyone, for dropping by. Okay, right. So, the next bit of our conversation, what did we talk about? I think, yes, this was the bit we spoke about, how we go about learning songs. It's really interesting. Check this out. Here we go. You have got a great memory for learning songs, and you always seem to commit set list to memory, which is really cool. Very, very cool. Working on my records, which I'm always eternally grateful that you've kind of been really up for. So working on my albums and doing the gigs and stuff. I know it's meant more reading. I remember when we started, and I was, and I'm talking about I'm throwing dots at you rather than simply chord shapes. And I know you said you found it a useful exercise, but to me, I think you're a very instinctive and creative player, right? Have you thought the reading somehow stifles your creativity at points? And also, do you feel that the reading might have opened up more opportunities, more avenues, as you've done more of it?
Okay, firstly, I don't think... I think the reading thing's been a mental block for me. It's been an issue. I think it's my own fears that actually kind of stifles my ability to read. My reading's not bad. It's not great, but my thinking about it is terrible. Right. Because that's what holds me up. I'm thinking, oh my God, I have to read this, and immediately it just puts a dampener on the session because it makes me think about it rather than just sitting there relaxing, concentrating, and knowing I can read a simple piece, bit of dots like your stuff. I think your stuff's challenging. It's
really interesting. From the first album and those first couple of sessions, it was like, yeah. So you're walking in like, yeah. Yeah, and it's visible, sort of that sense of comfort. It's visible.
I've always been told also the reading thing. All my mates, all the readers always say, and people I don't even know say, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And that's the thing for me, as I said, it's so true. But the more I think about it, the more stifling it is. So I have to stop thinking about it. That's the thing that always throws me. Oh my God, there's charts. Oh, and it becomes a thing of, am I going to hold up the session? Because everybody's now looking at Orefo. Come on, mate. Yeah, that always throws me. So I'm still learning to just put that aside, open it up. And also it is getting an opportunity to read a lot more. Like your sessions definitely gave me an opportunity to have to read and sit down and know. And then I will say, look, I don't know what people who read will say about it, but I do know there's an element of cheating involved in my reading as well, because I do also rely on my memory and think, okay, I've played that pattern, that's coming up again.
But that's what it's for. But that's precisely what it's for.
So I've had to understand that and learn that in my own way and time, very late in my playing career, to understand that's actually how you go about reading on a session. As for whether it's opened up more doors, I can't really say it has. I think I don't know. I've never gone down that avenue of the way I've always gotten work has been through word of mouth, through reputation, through the fact that I have got a good memory, I guess, through the fact that I will learn the set and whatever, and even a lot of gigs where I get a gig and it is about reading. It's never been an issue.
Yeah.
Where because you turn up, you learn the gig.
I mean, we've spoken about this before. It's in terms of the approach, the whole reading approach. I know I got a lot of gigs when I first sort of became a sort of full-time musician, because people after a while realised I read, and my reading got better because every gig I did, regardless of what it was, I always wrote stuff down.
Well, you do it, yeah.
I always wrote stuff down. Pop gig, jazz gig, doesn't matter what it is, reggae gig. To learn something. I'm trying to be efficient with my time, so for me, I could go down the route of playing something and trying to memorize it, and I'd have to have like 5 listens before it gets to the point it's going in, rather than 1 listen with a pencil in my hand,
right?
And then I can look at it and learn it that way. And that way, and even the pencil in my hand, something about when I look away from the chart, I'm visualizing that thing I've just written down. I'm visualizing the way the page looks. It helps me to remember. That's the way I kind of approach it.
I'd say reading is essential. I think it's important. I think it is really important. I think married in with an ability, a facility to use your ears and your memory, I think that's the winning ticket.
I want to know what your process is. You kind of alluded to it already, right? You kind of mentioned it already. But what your process is for navigating those musical situations where you're outside your normal comfort zone. Where things are tricky or it's a different feel or it's different, how do you go about? And say, for example, you told me what happened when you had to do that new tune for Patrick Lahar, this new project.
Oh, wow.
You said it was a completely almost unplayable, ridiculous bass line. I got burned by Pat. Pat, you're just mashing up musicians all over the place, mate. Right? So what was explain your process, because I found it really interesting the way you did that.
The challenge for that was, first of all, I think initially Pat wanted that on a 5-string. Somehow he was feeling the low B thing.
Right.
But as I said, I've gravitated so towards 4, because for me it was, and there's a number of reasons, we've discussed it, sonically and everything. I think a 4 is just a lot more punchier. So and bless him, thanks to Pat, he was so open to me interpreting it. It's not set in stone. He's happy for me to, because ultimately this has got to be played live as well. So you want it to be comfortable and to be playable. So he allowed me the time, although there wasn't much time, to work it out as best as I could on a 4-string and make it playable. But the track is fast. So, and back in the day, I don't know I guess we would have just, there's many ways of slowing down a track, putting the coin on top of your needle to slow it down or whatever. But here, there are many ways of slowing things down. So what I had to do was just start at the slowest BPM I could. I think that's the track, I can't remember, maybe it's 180 BPM. Right. So I started at half. Just started at half. And every day I was just learning the whole phrase. And it's like the whole thing's a piece. And again, I think, as we say, I had to open that drawer, Andrew, where I know I've got that facility somewhere. So look in there, now you've got that fusion facility.
Oh, it's going to kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Blow the dust off it and realise... Because the thing is, in my head, I'm thinking, can I still play this kind of stuff? That was a challenge. And again, because it's a challenge, I love a challenge. So slowing it down, getting the old fingers to work. Okay, got up a couple more BPM. Okay, we're getting it. After about 3 weeks, I managed to get it at the right BPM.
Cool.
But even then, it's still a roast.
Yeah.
But I think what it is, and I spoke to Pat about it, because he has the same experience with sax. So I guess all musicians get this, it's about muscle memory. Yeah. It is muscle memory. The more you do it, just like we're saying with reading, whatever it is, the more you do it, you do assimilate it. And time takes care of it. Eventually, I'll put it down. I don't want to play it on the gig. I don't want to be the bass player having to do it on the gig. But doing it on the session at home, mistake after mistake, take after take, it was eventually done and it got put out. Pythagoras, Pat Lahar. Little plug.
So talking of roasts, this is probably the most famous roast from the upcoming record. Here's a snippet. Check this out.
At all.
Remember that show?
Blur. Huh?
Oh man,
blur,
I mean that was
a blur.
You know what? That was that's another one of those things. Being the artist, being the tour manager, being
the sound guy, being the cameraman,
bring the roadie, brutal stuff. Oh jeez,
and catering as well.
Then you got to sit down and play a gig. and talk to the crowd and try and be interesting.
Exactly.
Oh, your brain.
That's that thing I say, and the last thing you think about is you're playing. The fact you've got to sit down and play.
Play hard music. Oh man, I clung on that gig, right? I just clung on. I was like this, clung on for dear life all the way through that thing, man. Jeez. Pressure. That gig was just total, utter pressure. But there you go. John Fisher, top man. Thanks for coming by. Tony, Jason, I didn't see you earlier. You're further up the list. And Mick, I think I said hi to Mick already. Bob, Matty. Good to see you folks. Right now, I've been looking forward to this bit. I really have, because this was, without question, one of the funniest tour life quizzes, right? that I've done. You guys, the heights of absolute stupidity. Oh man, I was crying. I was absolutely crying. I really hope you enjoy this. I've been told, right, that these have been getting more and more ridiculous as the weeks go by. The questions have been getting really stupid, and so I tried really hard, right, to just kind of dial it back.
Okay, bless you. Thank you very much.
I don't think I succeeded. That's the problem. I tried hard. I don't think I succeeded. So here we go. The tour life pop quiz. Yeah. It's oh man. There's one. Yeah. Here's a softball. Right. I'm going to ease you in. You're boarding a flight. Are you the person that queues up for your luggage space, or do you chill by the gate until the last minute?
Oh, I'll queue up for my luggage space.
Okay, cool. Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Now let's get into some dilemmas. Right? You're on a week-long run of gigs. Big tour, right? You're the MD, you've been given the hotel's presidential suite, right? Okay. About 3 days into your run, the artist is on her way to your room, yeah, to have a meeting about the tour. Yeah, she's on her way to your suite. The tour manager's just let you know on the phone she's really upset because she's in a box room overlooking the car park. Right? So, do you intercept her and meet in the lobby bar, or do you pour her a drink by your private pool?
We're going by the lobby, mate. We're going in the lobby. She ain't coming to my room. No way. Nah. And you know, no way. Lobby. We're in the lobby.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, right. Okay. Next one. You're. They get worse, man. Next one. You're sat next to the. You're on a flight and you realise you're sat next to the CEO of a multinational, like some mad, like ICI, some mad, like massive company. And he's a bass player fan, right? He thinks you're Marcus Miller, right? Now he's hard of hearing. You keep trying to correct him, but he's convinced you're Marcus Miller. Yeah. So you arrive to where you're going. You end up staying in the same hotel. All right. Couple of days later, you come downstairs. He's organised a massive champagne reception with press. The Crown Prince is there because he wants to introduce everyone to Marcus Miller. Right? Do you come clean in front of the cameras, or do you play along? Come on, quick.
I'm Marcus Miller. Pleased to meet you, mate. Hey, I'm going to go with it, man. I'm going to roll with it.
Oh, God.
Oh, I thought you meant Marcus Miller, the Nigerian Marcus Miller.
Cool. Okay, last one. You are mid-tour, on the biggest gig of your life. The biggest gig of your life. This is a multi-platinum selling, worldwide famous artist. You're talking like one of the biggest acts on the planet, right? You're mid-tour. It's going really well. It's a stylish, really cool gig. We get to the Madison Square Garden show. The artist just has a complete change of concept. So everyone has to, everyone gets given new costumes. You're given a choice of an oversized rubber chicken suit or an oversized nappy. Which one do you choose?
Cluck. I'm going for the chicken, mate. No way. Nappy. This is Parliament. Nah, there ain't no Bootsy Collins. I'm clucking all the way to the stage, son.
Oh, man. Oh, that's so funny. Mate, I'm sorry. I just couldn't resist. They're getting more ridiculous, but I'm just loving it.
I'm digging it.
So, Orefo, we are done.
Andrew,
are done.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
That was so much fun. Not as
difficult as I thought it was going to be. A bit nervous. I don't do interviews. Trying to stay aloof, keep my business to myself. But, absolute pleasure being here to help out, man.
Cool. We will catch up soon. Take care, man.
Absolutely. See you on the next gig.
Oh, man. I know. It's not big. It's not clever. But it's so funny. It's so funny. Oh, my gosh. That was so funny. Orefo, you're such great sport. Steve Turner, great to see you, man. Great to see you. So, yes, we have come to the end of the show. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you really enjoyed it. As per usual, I ask you, please, could you visit my website? It's andrewsmall.net. Lots of cool things on there. Also, you can get my music, my last album, What Happens Now, on all the places, all the platforms where you normally buy your other music. It'd be great if you check that out, if you heard some bits of the show that you enjoyed, the snaps you heard. My social media handle is Andrew Small Drums. You'll find me here on Facebook or on Instagram. And the whole show, as per usual, will be available to rewatch for your pleasure on YouTube once I do a couple of tweaks, and that'll be up later tonight. So yeah, if you want to watch it again, feel free. Cool. So folks, thanks so much. Been really great having you with me. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you next Monday, the same time, for another very, very cool interview. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.